I will never forget the night. I saw myself lying on the ground, my head bleeding, while people shouted my name. I was not dreaming. I was standing right there, looking at my own body, cold and still. My wife was kneeling beside me, crying and shaking me. Someone was shouting that a motorcycle had knocked me down. Someone else was saying they warned me about walking and pressing phone. The whole street was full of noise and fear. I wanted to shout that I was alive, but nobody could hear me. It was like my voice was trapped inside my chest. Then everything went dark. When light came back, I was in my house, sitting on my bed, sweating. My heart was beating fast, like somebody was hitting a drum inside me. I did not understand what I saw. I did not know if it was a dream or something else. But one thing was clear. I had seen myself dead. That was when the story truly began. My name is Chike, and I never believed anything spiritual or strange could happen to me. I like to mind my business, go to work, come back home, eat, sleep, and repeat. My wife Ada always complained that I liked using my phone too much, even when walking on the road or crossing the street. She would warn me, but I always laughed and told her nothing would happen. I did not know danger was already looking for me. The first time I heard my neighbor Mama Wosu pray my name, I thought it was a mistake. She was an old woman with a loud voice. Every night she prayed like she was talking to someone far away. Sometimes she prayed for her children, sometimes for the whole country. So when I heard my name that night, I told myself she probably meant someone else. But the next night she said my full name again. Not small prayer. She was crying and calling my name with her whole chest. I felt a cold hand touch my back. Why was this woman praying for me so seriously? When did we become close enough for her to be shouting my name every night? Ada did not believe me until she heard it herself. That night, she dropped the plate she was washing and came to meet me in the sitting room. Her face looked worried. She asked if I had done anything to the old woman. I told her no. Ada said something was not right. I agreed, but I still acted like it was nothing. But the prayers continued. Every night, same time, same voice, same tears. After some days, I started to get angry. I felt like someone was dragging me into something I did not understand. I felt like danger was standing somewhere close, waiting for me. And deep inside me, I knew this whole strange thing would soon explode. I woke up the next morning feeling tired. Even though I had slept, it was like my body did not rest at all. The picture of myself lying on the ground kept flashing in my head. I wanted to forget it, but the thing followed me everywhere I went. When I brushed my teeth, I saw it. When I wore my clothes for work, I saw it. When I stepped out of the house, the memory hit me again like wind. I walked out of the compound gate and stopped outside. I wanted to check my phone like I always did, but something inside my chest held my hand. I remembered the smell of dust on the road in that strange vision. I remembered Ada crying. I remembered people shouting that I had been knocked down. My fingers froze. For the first time in a long while, I put my phone back inside my pocket and walked without touching it. All through the day at work, I was not myself. I made small mistakes. I forgot things. I kept looking around like someone was watching me. My colleague asked if I was sick. I told him I was fine, but truly, I was not fine at all. When evening came, my heart started beating fast again. That was the time Mama Awosu normally started her prayers. I told myself I would ignore her this time. I told myself I would not even think about it. But when I reached the gate of our compound, I heard her voice rising already. I did not even want to check the time. I just stood there listening. She was crying again, and she was calling my name like something terrible was about to fall from the sky. The moment I stepped inside, Ada was already standing in the corridor. She had heard it too. Her face was tight. She asked me what was going on, but I did not have any answer. I felt confused. I felt worried. I felt angry. All the feelings were turning inside me like hot water. Later that night, I could not sleep. Every sound made me wake up. I kept thinking of the old woman's voice. I kept thinking of the strange vision I saw. I kept thinking of the prayer that sounded like a warning. Why me? What was chasing me? What did she see that made her cry like that every night? The next evening, everything became worse. Before she even started praying, she came outside and sat in front of her door. She kept staring at my flat like she was waiting for me. When her eyes met mine, my heart jumped. She looked sad. She looked worried. She looked like she wanted to talk to me but was scared of how I would react. That was when I knew something serious was happening, something bigger than just an old woman praying, something that had my name written on it, and I knew I could not continue pretending that nothing was wrong. The day everything changed started like a normal evening. I came back from work tired, but my mind was even more tired than my body. When I entered the compound, I saw Mama Nomosu sweeping the front of her door. She was not praying yet. She was not crying. She was just sweeping slowly, like an old woman who had lived too many years. But the moment she lifted her head and her eyes met mine, her hand stopped moving. The broom hung in the air. She looked at me with eyes that were full of fear, like she expected something to happen right there in that compound. I pretended not to notice. I walked straight to my door. But before I could enter, she dropped the broom and called my name. Not loudly, not like when she was praying. This time, her voice was soft and shaky, like someone carrying a heavy load inside her heart. I turned around slowly. Ada came out from the kitchen at the same time, wiping her hands. She looked from me to the old woman and back again. There was silence. Even the children playing in the compound stopped for a moment and stared at us. It was like everyone knew something was about to happen. Mama Nwosu asked if she could talk to me. Her eyes were begging, her hands were shaking. I did not want to follow her inside her room, but I also knew I could not keep running away. So I nodded. Her room smelt of kerosene and powder. She had old pictures on the wall and a stool beside her chair. She told me to sit. Ada stood by the door, refusing to leave me alone. I was happy she stayed because my heart was beating too fast. The old woman sat down slowly, like her bones were older than her. She looked at me for a long time, like she was thinking of where to start. Then she told me something that made my chest feel tight. She said she had been seeing me in her dreams for weeks, not just once or twice, every night, same dream, same scene. She said she always saw me walking into the compound, smiling and pressing my phone. Then a motorcycle would rush in from nowhere and knock me down. She said she always shouted my name in the dream, but I never heard her. She said in every dream, Ada would kneel beside me crying, the same words, asking why I did not listen. When she finished talking, Ada looked at me with shock on her face. I could not even look back. My heart felt like sand pouring through my chest. I knew what she was talking about. I knew the habit I had been hiding from Ada. I knew how many times I had escaped small accidents because I was looking at my phone while walking. I knew the thing I always told myself was small could easily become big trouble. But hearing it from her, seeing the fear in her eyes, made me feel like someone poured cold water on my back. I wanted to talk. I wanted to explain. I wanted to say something, but my mouth refused to open. All I could feel was guilt. All I could see in my mind was the same picture I saw that night, the picture of myself lying on the ground. The room felt too small. The air felt too heavy. Something inside me was breaking, and I knew this was only the beginning. When we came out of Mama Nosu's room that night, the whole compound felt different. The air felt heavy, like rain was coming, but the sky was clear. Ada walked beside me without talking. She kept looking at my face like she was waiting for me to say something, but I did not know what to say. My throat felt tight. My mind was too full. Inside our room, she finally asked me if what the old woman said was true. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the floor. I wanted to lie. I wanted to say I had no idea what Mama Nosu was talking about. But the picture of myself lying on the ground came back to my mind again. After some seconds, I told her everything. I told her how I always pressed my phone while walking. I told her how many times I had missed motorcycles by small distance. I told her how I brushed her warnings aside because I thought she was just disturbing me. Ada sat down slowly. She was not shouting. She was not crying. But the silence coming from her felt worse than noise. She looked disappointed. She looked hurt. She told me she had been trying to warn me because she loved me, not because she wanted to control me. Her voice was soft, but every word entered my chest like a stone. I felt ashamed. That night, I could not sleep. I kept turning on the bed. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that strange vision again. The dust on the ground, my phone beside my hand, Ada crying, people shouting my name. I opened my eyes quickly every time. My heart refused to rest. When it was almost the time Amanusu normally started praying, something strange happened. I did not hear her voice. The compound was quiet. Too quiet. It scared me more than the prayers. I stood from the bed and went to the window. Her door was closed. Her light was off. I told myself maybe she slept early, but my heart did not believe it. The next morning, I saw her sweeping outside. She looked tired. She looked like someone who had not slept well. When she saw me, she stopped sweeping again. She asked me how I slept. I told her the truth. I told her my mind was not at peace. She nodded and said she was happy I finally knew the danger. Before I left for work that morning, something inside me pushed me to tell her thank you. I did not know why, but the words came out. Her eyes softened. She said she only prayed because she did not want me to die without warning. Throughout that day, Ada kept checking up on me. She sent messages asking if I was safe. For the first time in a long time, I replied every single one without anger. I stopped pressing my phone while walking. I stayed careful, but the fear inside me was still there. In the evening, when I got home, something unexpected happened. As I entered the compound, I saw the exact picture from my vision. I saw a motorcycle rushing towards the gate. I saw someone stepping inside without looking. The person was me. My heart jumped into my throat.
The moment I saw that motorcycle rushing toward the gate, my whole body froze. It felt like time slowed down. The sound of the engine was loud. The dust behind the bike rose up. The rider was not looking at the gate. He was definitely not expecting anyone to be stepping in at that exact moment. And the person stepping in was me, but it was not the real me. It was the me I used to be, the me from before the warning, the me that always pressed phone while walking. It was like looking at the past standing in front of me. My hand went to my pocket by reflex. My phone was there. If I had been pressing it, the picture I saw in that strange vision would have become real. I would have walked straight into the path of the motorcycle without seeing it. My legs felt weak. Sweat rushed to my face. The rider hit his brakes suddenly and the bike skidded to one side. It stopped close enough for me to hear the rubber burn on the ground. Neighbors shouted. Someone asked if I was blind. Someone else asked the rider if he had no eyes. But all the noise sounded far away. I could only hear my heart beating hard inside my chest. My fingers were shaking. If my phone had been in my hand, I know I would not be standing there. I would be lying on the ground. Ada ran out from our door. When she saw the bike so close to me, her hand covered her mouth. For a moment, she could not move. Then she rushed toward me and held my arm. She kept asking if I was fine. I nodded, but I was not fine at all. My legs felt like they did not belong to me. The rider apologized and drove off slowly, but I still could not move. Ada pulled me inside the compound. I kept looking at the ground, the exact spot where the dream version of me had fallen. The dust looked the same. The position looked the same. Even the time of day looked the same. Everything matched the picture I saw that night. When we got inside, Ada closed the door and leaned on it. She told me she almost fainted when she saw what happened. I sat on the chair quietly. My mind was running. My chest was heavy. For the first time since all this started, tears gathered in my eyes. Not because of fear alone, but because I knew something bigger than me had saved me from myself. Later that evening, I went to see Mama Nusu. She was sitting outside with her wrapper tied around her chest. When she saw me walking toward her, she smiled like she already knew what happened. I sat down beside her. I told her everything. The bike, the gate, how close it came, how the dream version of me almost became real. She nodded slowly. She said that was why she prayed every night. She said the dream stopped coming the moment my heart changed. She said sometimes danger looks small until the day it grows teeth. I thanked her again. This time my voice did not shake. She placed her hand on my shoulder and said she was happy God allowed her to see it early. That night, when I entered my room, I felt lighter. Ada sat beside me on the bed and rested her head on my shoulder. I told her I was done pressing phone while walking. I told her I was ready to listen. She held my hand and said that was all she ever wanted. Before sleeping, I stepped outside one more time. The compound was quiet. No crying prayers, no shouting, no fear. For the first time in many days, I felt peace. I looked at the gate where the bike had almost hit me. I looked at the window of the old woman who prayed for me. Then I looked up at the night sky and breathed in slowly. The danger passed me, the warning saved me, and my life continued because someone cared enough to shout my name even when I did not want to hear it.